All right. To start the program, can we say sadhu 3 times, please?
Sadhu, 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 sadhu.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Katang bhavitani cha kundaliya tini sucharitani katang bahuli katani chattaro satipattane paripuryanti. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Dear friends in the Dhamma, today, 1st of April 2025, another weekly mindfulness session. And in the session, we are now starting the listening supportive factor session. For the listening supportive factor, we have selected this discourse called Kundaliya Sutta, which is coming in the connected discourses in the mountain section. And in that, the blessed one is meeting a wanderer called Kundaliya, and he's asking few questions from the blessed one to see whether he is also like other recluses, where they are coming out with a different doctrine, different point of view. Whereas the Buddha said, no, I'm not having any of those things. My purpose of having this life is for the benefit and fruit of true knowledge and liberation. Then he immediately asked, what have you got to do to cultivate that and develop it? Then he says, 7 factors of enlightenment. Then the next question is, how you get 7 factors of enlightenment? Then he goes, 4 foundations of mindfulness. Then he's asking, how 4 foundations of mindfulness? Then 3 kinds of good conduct. Then for 3 kinds of good conduct, what have I got to develop? What have I got to cultivate? This is restraint of the sense faculties. So the particular verse I selected, the blessed one is mentioning how the 4 foundations of mindfulness will be completed. And it says, when you complete the 3 types of good conduct, the 4 foundations of mindfulness is gradually getting completed. So we are talking about how the 4 foundations of mindfulness develops. So we have discussed there are 4 foundations, as the word suggests, and they are mindfulness of the body, mindfulness of the feeling, and mindfulness of the mind. And whatever the object on which you become mindful, what blessed one is asking us to do is to be aware of it. That's all. There is nothing else. And we discussed how you become mindful of the mind, in that the blessed one has identified 16 waves, 16 currents, 16 fluctuations of the mind, and which we discussed in detail in our previous sessions. And they are pairs of 8, and lustful mind, and the mind free of lust, and hating mind, mind free of hate, and deluded mind, undeluded mind, contracted mind, and mind which is not contracted, developed mind and undeveloped mind, surpassed mind, unsurpassed mind, concentrated mind, unconcentrated mind, liberated mind, unliberated mind. So like that, he has identified 16 fluctuations and 8 pairs. And for all those things, he says, it's the same thing that takes a different form. When that form is gone, it is just an energy. So these energy fluctuations, energy waves is identifying, and he simply says, when the energy changes, you don't change, you simply observe it. So that's what we are practicing when we practice mindfulness. Now, last week, we started when you go through in this manner, the physical processes and mental processes of human beings, of the practitioner, everything becomes what do you call, without any reaction. Everything becomes just floating. So, in other words, everything becomes phenomena. So, we discussed in the last session, in the phenomena section, the first two phenomena that we have. The phenomena means things that naturally happen. So the first one is the hindrances. There are five types of hindrances, which we discussed in the last session. And those hindrances will be a phenomena when you keep observing. Sense desire, ill will, sloth and torpor, worry and excitement about the future, and the skeptical doubts. So these hindrances will appear and disappear. And clinging aggregates is the second one. There are five clinging aggregates, which we call form, feelings, perceptions, mental volitions, and the consciousness. And if you very strongly cling to them, grasp them, then it becomes a defilement. But when you become mindful, what happens is you are observing this process. So you will be aware when it is there, you will be aware when it is not there, you will be aware when it is arising, you will be aware when the arisen one is disappearing, and end of the day, you will see they may gradually, because you keep observing and you get more and more close to them, and you will be able to observe them as and when it arises. So then there is no opportunity for these clinging aggregates to have the clinging. They will have aggregates, but the clinging part will go because you are so close. You have the mindfulness at the very outset of the process. So these two we have discussed in the last session. There are a few other sections in this. They are sense-based section, which we are going to discuss today, and the factors of enlightenment section, and then the noble truth section. So last week, if I may remind you, the Buddha's exact wording, not in Pali, of course, in English, what he says when the hindrances are there. He says, when it is present in himself, knows that it is present. When it is absent, knows that it is absent. So this is mindfulness, and knows how unarisen unarisen defilement arises, and he knows the abandonment of arisen hindrance, and he knows how the non-arising of the abundant hindrance in the future will come about. So he is at the very outset, as I said. Similarly, for the clinging aggregates, he will be simply aware, such is form, such is feeling, such is perception, such is mental volitions, such is consciousness. He will be aware, such is the arising of the form, feeling, etc. He will be aware, such is the disappearance of form and feeling, etc. So these are not simply words. You are simply observing. When you observe, you see these natures, and the someone will not come and tell you, such is form, such is feeling, etc. But you will see how it is. You will observe how it is. You will have an experience of that, and you will have an experience of the arising of the form. You'll have an experience of the arising of the feeling. So, for example, when you are observing the breath, you can see how the breath is starting to appear. And at the same time, you can see how the breath is disappearing gradually. So those things are experiences. So it will come to a stage when you have your attention to the body, and even the breath completely will disappear, but you may start feeling the body in the form of sensations. So even those sensations, when you keep observing, their vividity will gradually vanish, and you will see some appearance and disappearance only. So deeper you go into the mental process, this you may see more energy sort of wavelengths. So this is what we call the phenomena. That is why the blessed one is saying they are dhamma. Dhamma means either phenomena or mind objects, because all these things are generated by mind. So you can call them mind objects as well. So the phenomena is that it is changing. That is what is given even in hindrances. And even here, it is the same thing. You don't stuck. Things keep changing and you just allow them to happen in that manner. Today's topic is the next one. Again, phenomena continuation. Sense bases. There are 6 types of sense bases, and for internally, there are 6 types of sense bases externally. We know our internal things are 6 sense bases. They are eye, most strongest one, ear, nose, tongue, and the body and the mind. So these are the internal 6 sense bases. So external 6 sense bases are for the eye, I can't hear, I can't taste, I can't smell. The only thing I can do is see visual objects. So the external sense base is the visual object for the internal sense base of eye. Similarly, for the ear, which is the internal sense base, external sense base will be the sound. And for the nose, it will be aromas. And for the tongue, it will be tastes. And for the body, it will be whatever tactile sensations that there may be. For the mind, it's all the things that are appearing in the mind, all the mind projections, whatever that comes up in the mind. So these are the 6 sense bases. So when you take these 6 sense bases, actually it is 12, because again there are internal 6 and external 6, and it is 12 of them altogether. Once again in pairs, it is 6. So these 6 sense bases are arising due to the dependent origination. You know, there are 12 sections in the dependent origination. I'm not going to discuss that in full detail, but if I may signpost them, the dependent origination, in other words, cause and effect relationship, takes place due to ignorance. And ignorance is the start of it. And because of ignorance, there will have formations, which we call mental volitions, and which lead to consciousness. Right? So we call it avidya, sankhara, vinyan in Pali. So because of consciousness, there will have name and form. So name and form is nothing but the 5 aggregates. So when you have the 5 aggregates, which is form, sensations, perceptions, formations or mental volitions, and the consciousness, And for these things to be active, they should have 6 sense bases. There is a very interesting explanation in this dependent origination. The Blessed One is saying, after consciousness, because of consciousness, what appears is name and form. Blessed One is not saying it is form and name. So that's a very, very interesting arrangement of the terms. In Pali, we call it Nama Rupa. So even there, it has the same order. So why this order is happening is the consciousness, which is again the energy, the defiled energy. The defiled energy happens when internal sense base gets in contact with external sense base. So when that happens in the mental level, in the energy level, in the mind level. So when it conceives in the mind, it will not gradually all of a sudden become a form. It matures and it gradually germinates. It incubates after the formations of the consciousness. I'm not talking about mother's womb, but it's basically the same thing possibly happening even there. From the consciousness, from our mind, it matures first into a feeling. So when that contacts happen, it goes to a feeling, right? So in the term name, in the term nama, what is included is feelings, perceptions, mental volitions again, and the consciousness again. So therefore, in that name and form, in the name, because of consciousness, which is generated by the internal and external sense bases, there will have some feeling, and that feeling will will give birth to perception. And when feelings and perceptions is there, when it is very, very well identified, you will have to do something about it. You may have to involve yourself mentally, intentionally. And when that intentional involvement happens, it becomes mental volitions. So this is how it incubates from the consciousness, which is derived by the connection of the two internal and external objects. It matures in this manner through a feeling, through a perception, and through a mental formations. And when you have mental formations, again another consciousness arises, because now this consciousness is again a mental thing. You have seen something, and by seeing you had the eye consciousness, and eye consciousness has taken it and then generated a feeling and a perception and mental volition. And now it is generating another mind consciousness to make it active. And that mind consciousness is creating a form. It matures into that energy, changes into a matter now. So this is how the name and form, or the 5 aggregates, develop. This is how the 5 aggregate gradually incubates and turns into a form. It first lay the mental foundation, and after laying the mental foundations, the form will appear. So once the form appears, which is basically our body, when our body appears, the basis for the 6 sense bases will be there. So therefore, the form basically consists of mainly the first 5 sense bases as form, and it will be supported by the last one, the sixth one, the mental sense base. So this wiring, these connections, this internet will constantly keep working, and our life means that. So therefore, what I simply wants to tell you here is, last week we discussed 5 aggregates. These 5 aggregates are leading to the 6 sense bases. So when if you don't have 5 aggregates, the six sense bases will not be there. So in other words, if the 5 aggregates, they are called clinging aggregates. If we take off the clinging part of the aggregate, the basis for the 6 sense bases to exist will gradually vanish. So once this 6 sense bases are active, then only contact happens, then only feeling, craving happens, then only, contact happens, then only feeling happens, then only the rest of the 12 elements in the, what do you call, dependent origination will continue. So, therefore, the 6 sense bases are having a direct connection to the dependent origination. So, for this, in the phenomena, what happens is when you continuously keep observing the hindrances as well as these 5 aggregates, you just allow them to appear, you just allow them to disappear, you just become aware when they are there, you are just become aware when they are not there. What happens is, this process that is generated by 6 sense bases will get affected. So once it gets affected, the Blessed One says, even at that level, you will have to just maintain your mindfulness. So how you maintain your mindfulness, there is the Blessed One says, again, monk abides contemplating mind objects as mind objects in respect of the 6 internal sense bases. How does he do so? Here, a monk knows the I. I'm just taking only the I part because that's the first one. And similarly, you can replace with ear, nose, throat, or the tongue, the body, and the mind as well. So when you become mindful and when your attention goes to the 6 sense bases, the Blessed One says, he knows, monk knows that the I is active. He knows that sight objects is in touch. He knows whatever fetter arises dependent on the two. So this is an interesting thing. He will be able to be aware that the I is active. He will be able to aware that this I is taking that particular object. Say, for example, when you are doing your mindful walking, there may have a beautiful girl walking on the road or going on the other side. So you know your eye is now active, and you know the sight object is that girl. And then it doesn't stop there. The Blessed One says he knows whatever fetter arises dependent on the two. The fetter here means when the eye is in touch with the object, the eye consciousness arises. So when the eye consciousness arises, it doesn't stop there. Then it will give a contact, the combination of the internal sense object with and the external sense object, and knowing that the two are connected is the consciousness. So when these three are complete, we call it a contact. So when there is a contact, then there will have some sensation going in your body. If it is beautiful, and you will be, having a different sensation, the sensation that you were enjoying, or you were having before seeing that girl, straight away changes. It maybe it's an enemy that goes, and sensation may change to something else. Or if it is a neutral thing, and you will feel a different types of a sensation. Not that you don't feel anything, you will feel something, but it is just another sight only. So therefore, that contact will lead to a sensation. And this sensation that you will undergo in your physical system, um, may be something that you like. So if you like it, you will have identification, or you will have a perception of liking. And then if you don't like, you will have the perception of dislike. So therefore, these are the fetters. This process that goes on is the fetter. So it may be the in other words, fetter means the continuation of the dependent origination after the contact. After the contact, you have a sensation, you have a feeling, and because of the feeling, you have generated either liking or disliking, which means the craving. And when you have the craving, and you may feel, okay, I should go and talk to her, or I should see where she is going, or some idea may be going on. And then, not just craving, you will be conceptualizing on the craving, and you will be trying to make it active more. So as a result, gradually it becomes clinging. And when it becomes clinging, and then you will turn into a person who really wants to go and have some communication, some contact with that person, with that girl. So therefore, now you are not the same person before seeing that object. You are becoming a different person. So because of the clinging, it the next thing is happening is we call bhava, which means becoming. And then that becoming gives birth to a different person again. So the physical process that you had now is a completely different. So I'm not talking about the real birth of a child. Even that has the same link. But I'm talking about how it happens when you see an object while walking. It is not only while walking, doing your walking practice. I'm just taking that example just to show how we get distracted. And the same thing is happening anytime when you have some connection in the society. Maybe in a supermarket, maybe on the road, maybe you are going on an evening walk. These things happen constantly, and we don't know. So here, the best part is, because you are mindful, the blessed one says he knows whatever fetter arises depending on the two. So now you are not going behind that girl. You are able to see the mental urge. You are able to see the feeling that you have. You are able to see the mental urge that the mind is creating for you to go and do something. And that is a phenomenon. And we think that when we are mindful, when we practice meditation, we should have always a clean sheet. And we should have always, everything perfect, everything should be pure. But see what the Blessed One is saying. Blessed One says, these fetters will arise as depending on the two, which is internal, external object connection. And he just becomes aware. So therefore, when I was publishing the English talk, what I did last week, the click thumbnail, what I took was, what's the big deal? That's the question Blessed One is asking. So these things are happening. He simply says, when your mindfulness has sharpened through the body mindfulness, sharpen through the feeling mindfulness, sharpen through the mind mindfulness. Now your awareness is so sharp, and you can see the mental and physical process connections are taking place. And those connections also, you are not trying to poke fingers, you are not getting excited, or you are not generating remorse about it, and you don't think that I'm practicing for such a long time, my dirty mind is going behind still girls, and either this practice is wrong, or my practice is wrong, or the technique is wrong. Those type of nonsense will not be tolerated by the mind. Mind will simply observe, and your observation will tell the mind, you go on with your business, and my business is for my business is just to see what you are doing. So therefore, the strength, negative strength of the mind gradually vanishes, gradually depreciates, gradually fades away. And for that to happen, we should not generate any mental volition. So the mindfulness is giving us that skill. Don't generate any mental volitions. When you don't generate any mental volition, you can see the process. Whatever feta arises, depending on the two, he knows. And then the next one, blessed one says is, and he knows how an unarisen feta comes to arise. So when it is arisen, he sees as well. So his attention is now more on this process. So since it is more on the process, it has gone more into yoniso manasikara. What's the term for yoniso manasikara? Wise attention. Yeah, it has gone to the wise attention, or to the very beginning. So when it goes to the very beginning, this person will be able to see, yes, now I've seen a girl, now my mind is trying to bubble up and, motivate me and chase me to generate feelings, to generate perceptions, to generate this, to generate that. You can see the mind is trying to do it. Now, not that the fetters are happening. You can see the urge of the mind, the push of the mind to create negativity in the system. So this is what the Blessed One is telling. It's a phenomena. It's a phenomena. It's nothing, not that there is a separate superpower in the sky and doing these things. No, this is a phenomena that happens within our physical and mental processes. So this is the contact feeling. This directly affects contact feeling craving. So he observes the contact, he observes the feeling, he observes the craving, but it does not go to the stage I'm sorry, now in here he says, unarisen feta comes to arise. He can see unarisen feta arising as well. So it goes to craving and it goes to clinging. He's simply observing. And in the next one, he says, he knows how the abandonment of a recent feta comes about. When you keep observing, he can see how this recent feta, a recent mental process will gradually fades away, evaporates, vanishes. And there, contact is there, he observes, feeling is there, he observes, craving is there, he observes, and no clinging. That is the important thing. Because of this continued awareness, continued knowings, the abandonment happens. The arisen defilement, you are observing. When you observe, although there is craving, you are observing the craving urge. You are not trying to chase it away, push it away, eradicate it, or avoid it. As a result, you are not making any mental volitions. Since you are not making any mental volitions, the craving cannot continue any further. And the clinging, you are not grasping it. The craving is not grasped. So as a result, no clinging happens. And therefore, the abandonment is taking place. And then further, Blessed One says, he knows how the non-arising of the abundant fetter in the future will come about. So the non-arising will happen. So when you keep observing very closely with the wise attention means being attentive at the very root of the occurrence. So when that is there, when your attention goes deeper into the mental process, and non-arising is happening. Contacts are taking place and you are observing the contacts. That's all. So therefore, there is no chance for the fetters to arise. So therefore, abundant fetters will be there, non-arising. The abundant fetters will not arise again. So in this manner, again, six sense bases are active, contact is there, feeling is there, but no craving once again. So when this process takes place, the mindfulness takes a big leap. When you have come to the phenomena and when you have gone through the hindrances, when you have gone through the aggregates, when you go through the general living, this is called general living, observation of the fetters. When you go through the general living, your mindfulness has come a long way and it has evolved. We initially started with the mere awareness, choiceless awareness. This choiceless awareness leads to the four foundations of mindfulness, which we are discussing now. So when the four foundations of mindfulness is there, mindfulness will turn into a faculty. Now, all this time we were talking about faculties for the sensual sense objects only, or sensual pleasure only. But now when the spirituality is developing, our mind is having the spiritual faculties as well. So this spiritual faculty called mindfulness, there are four other faculties. When you have your attention continuously in the body, or continuously in the feelings, or continuously in the mind, continuously in the phenomena, your mindfulness faculty is gradually developing. And it is developing to the extent for you to identify that you are able to exactly say that your mind is in the body or the feeling or any of these four. And the beauty is when you have the faculty, you also know when the mind is not in any of those things. So when you have a faculty, this is the important part. When you have your eye, when you have your ear, you know, when you have the eye, you can see. And because of that, you know when you don't see as well. Right? So when you have the ear, you know you can hear. And because you have an eye, you can see that you don't hear as well. So therefore, faculty is doing its job, and also it has the uh, basis to say that the faculty is not doing the job as well. So therefore, when you have the mindful faculty, you precisely know whether your mind is in either on the body or the feelings, mind or the phenomena, or whether the mind was nowhere. You don't know. That also can be told because you have the mindfulness faculty developed. So then I'm now explaining this evolution of the mindfulness when you go through the phenomena. Then the next evolution is this mindfulness faculty will change it to power of mindfulness. Power of mindfulness is when you are unmindful. In other words, when you don't know where your mindfulness was, what usually happens is you become so worried about it because you have sacrificed your life basically, and you have made the entire life invested, I would say, in developing mindfulness. So therefore, the very same thing that you have developed with or so much sacrification, when it is lost, you feel so bad. You feel that you are utter useless. You have a lot of regret about it. So what happens is, because you are now developing the awareness, and blessed one says, not blessed one, of course, Venerable Sariputta says, when you have remorse that you are unmindful, don't get panic, right? So it says, Pamadena na kampatiti sati balam. Pamadena means you have not been able to be mindful. You have you have been unmindful. And na kampatiti. Kampati means you becomes very worried. You become very shaken. Right? So he says, although you become unmindful, don't get shocked. Don't worry about it. Pamadena na kampatiti. And if you can do that, then it is not just mindful faculty, it becomes a power of mindfulness. So in other words, what happens is, the simple explanation is, when you become worried about unmindfulness, you become mindful of the worry, not about the unmindfulness. Now you are worried, you become mindful of the worry, you become aware of the worry. So when you become aware of the worry, it becomes doubled mindfulness. Mindfulness faculty, whether you have it or not, whatever that happens, you have the power, you have the ability now to put everything under mindfulness, everything under awareness. So this happens not only for mindfulness. There are four other faculties, which is faith and energy. The third one is the mindfulness, and the next one is the concentration, and the last one is the wisdom. So these are the other four spiritual faculties. These spiritual faculties also will have the other side of it, the negative side of it. Faith, negative side of the faith is you may lose your faith. Energy, negative side of energy is you may not be energetic anymore, you may be so lethargic. Mindfulness we have discussed. Concentration, your concentration will go out the window, you will be 100% unconcentrated. And wisdom, you practicing so well and you have so much of wisdom and so much of things aligning up, all of a sudden everything you lose. So when these things happen, also the blessed one says, become mindful of that. If you feel that you don't have faith, just be aware that you don't have faith. Don't worry about it. It is called asaddena na kampatiti saddha bala. And next it says, kusitena na kampatiti virya bala. Kusitena means you become lethargic. Na kampatiti. Don't get shocked. Don't remorse about it. Don't worry about it. But become mindful of that. So when you become mindful of that, then it becomes a power of energy. Likewise, for the other things also, concentration also can be made a power. When you lose concentration, you become aware that you have lost the concentration. And when you lose the wisdom, you become aware that you have lost the wisdom. So what happens is, what I want to bring about is, now everywhere mindfulness is playing a part. So therefore mindfulness becomes the sole authority of our mental process. He becomes the president. Once he becomes the president, it becomes an enlightenment factor. mindfulness enlightenment factor, which is the first enlightenment factor in the 7 factors of enlightenment. So all this happens because of just one thing, which I am telling every day. All this happens just because of one thing. I repeated that because it is so important. This is why the Blessed One says at the very beginning of the 4 foundations of mindfulness, he says, keep the body as your focal point and leave the mindfulness to the fore. Since you keep the mindfulness in the driving seat, all these things will happen. Now, you need lot of support because we don't keep our mindfulness to the fore. We try to take everything else in the canon and try to plug into the practice. It will be a mess. Only thing, if you are practicing, what is important is very simple. Keep the mindfulness to the fore, give the driving seat to the mindfulness, no matter what goes through in your physical and mental process. Buddha has done the rest. Buddha has already liberated us, but we don't take that on board because we always kick mindfulness and put the mindfulness into the boot, or once it is put into the boot, we forget it. And that is what happened before Buddha. They were mindful, they had perpetual mindfulness, but after some time they forget and they get hooked up in the pleasure of jhanas. So the Blessed One has taken us out of it. So once we have come out of it only, you will be having power of mindfulness and the enlightenment factor will be developed, which we are going to discuss in the next session. Although we haven't completed 4 foundations of mindfulness, since the next thing that we have got to discuss under phenomena is how enlightenment factors become a phenomenon. So before discussing enlightenment factor becoming phenomena, we will have to understand what enlightenment factors are. So therefore, in the next session, I'm going to discuss that. So therefore, we are so lucky. We are so lucky to have this analysis of our existence. And it is an unbelievable explanation by the Blessed One. And just imagine if we are to learn this from a university, and of course people are learning this from universities, but they don't get a damn about this practice. This is something that can be understood, that can be realized only by practitioners. Those who read books, they will have a lot of volumes and volumes of books talking about those things, but they have never tasted salt. They are writing about the salt. They will have all equations and explanations, analysis and flow charts and all sorts of things. But they have never tasted salt. But those who practice, they know what exactly is happening. And they will only be able to see that this is a living thing. Dhamma is not dead. So therefore, the practitioners are very rare. So since the practitioners are very rare, the Dhamma is extremely rare. So there is a metaphor by the Blessed One, the blind turtle seeing the full moon. Right? So the Blessed One says, imagine a turtle blind in one eye, living in the depths of vast ocean. He comes up to the surface only once in 100 years, because turtles are living for such a long time. They comes up only 100 years just to take a breath and go back. So when he comes in 100 years, the yolk with a single hole floats on the surface of the ocean. You know, the yolks that the ships are using, they just throw it into the shore when they are no longer usable. So there is a yolk floating, and when this, the probability of that blind turtle upon surfacing accidentally sticking its good eye, so only one eye is blind, its good eye through that hole is incredibly low. It is almost close to that it will not happen. But there is a possibility that will happen as well. In the vast ocean, in 100 years, when it comes, the good eye is coming through that hole of the yolk. And not only that, it is even rare that particular day is a full moon day. So we are that turtle. We are those turtles. We have Buddha's dispensation available, as pristine as it was, and we have the human life, which is very rare to get. You hear the true teaching now, which is to keep the mindfulness to the fore. You will have to engage in the practice. Therefore, you should have that urgency, as if a man whose head is on fire is trying to extinguish it. And this is what Bhante Rakkhita says most of the time. You will have to work as if your head is on fire, and hope this talk has generated such urgency at your capacity for a consistent practice. Blessings of the Triple Gem to all of you. Thank you very much for listening. Theruvan Saranai.
Theruvan Saranai, Bhante.
Theruvan Saranai. Good. Now we have few minutes. Not few minutes, as long as you want, for a discussion. Steve won't bother because all the time is in his hand. Any discussion point? You have anything? Okay. Someone is coming to see you, Steve.
That's funny boy. Hello. Steve, good to see you. There on Sunday. So
Sorry, hello. I just had you on mute. How are you, Chatu?
very good, good to see you. Are you still near?
Hang on, I can't hear you.
Oh, hold on. Oh, we are on.
Just talk closer to
Can you hear us
to
now?
the microphone.
No, his volume is low.
Wait, but how did you hear Bhante before?
That's better. Now I can hear you.
Okay, right, okay. Anyway,
Yeah.
so I'll speak like this, even though I'm not facing you. So I had general comment for Bhante. It was a very nice talk. So general comments was lately, if I talk about the mindfulness and concentration, so generally when I do walking and sitting, I don't care what happens. So who knows what will happen, and not no regrets. So there could be very less concentration and mindfulness in the practice. But lately, I've had so much lethargy to do my timetable and so lazy, and I have time and then I just, not do anything. That's never happened to me before because I'm very strict. So then even I had a regret, to saying, what did I do with my time? What a waste. But I never identified that as a lack of energy. And then for me, I was failure. Because I didn't accept that, this is a lack of energy, and then it could become a power. So yet to be a power for me, the energy. But I heard of power for mindfulness, but I never thought of power in the other faculties. So it was very good wake up call. I also don't understand the power for wisdom, because I don't know, that's a very interesting thing. It's like maybe you feel stupid or something. I don't know. I don't know how you would actually feel the not wisdom component.
Yeah.
Okay, that's my comments. Okay.
Thank you very much for the comment. And when you start practicing mindfulness, this is why the Blessed One says, keep the mindfulness to the fore. No matter what comes, just keep driving on it. So therefore, when you feel lethargic, you become lethargic But still, even for you to sleep, just come and sit. You are lethargic and be aware of the lethargy, and you don't expect anything, just sit. And that is there only the maturity of mindfulness comes. Mindfulness is working, and we will be doing, without any issue, when the things are so vivid and active and energetic. But can we continue the practice when we have lost the energy, when we have lost the faith? Practice in the sense, can we be happily aware? Important thing is not just being aware. You should be happily aware of. Then nobody will be able to put you down. So therefore, in order to test your strength, all what you gain, you should lose. And then only the strength of the mindfulness, strength of the practice will be seen and can be seen. So let me put it this way. For the wisdom thing, right? Usually when you put it this way, from the practice you will understand to some extent, depending on your practice, that you accept impermanence, you accept non-self, you accept suffering, right? But there will have some instance, some small thing happen, you act crazy, you forget impermanence, you forget non-self, you forget suffering, and you talk in a way that it is permanent. You talk in a way that you have the control of everything. You talk in a way that everything should be pleasurable. You forget suffering. And then once that happens, your mind, you will be really regretting, because you are a mindfulness teacher, and maybe some people, when they realize this general nature of the world, the law of nature or the nature of law, they are attained people to some extent, and they will start worrying, and I am a person of this caliber, what the heck I did? So the wisdom gone out the window. Then only you will be able to see the strength of the wisdom. Right? So this is why the Blessed One says, there will have a point that you will have to give up Dhamma itself. And it is explained in the next phenomena section, which is what you call enlightenment factors. So the last enlightenment factor is the equanimity. And the equanimity goes out the window when you act like that. Right? Then only you can see the strength of the equanimity. If you are not, that has happened, and you don't worry about it, you become equanimous of that as well. So this is why Lokohamdru can keep shouting. He shouts, but he never regrets about it. So I also can start doing that and pretend not regretting. Yeah, no, those are things that cannot be pretended, because these are physical and mental processes. We can't cheat them. We can't cheat them. There will be slight mental volitions. Those things will very strongly be manifesting. Okay, so I'm not quite sure whether I answered your question. Right. Okay. Any other comments, question?
I have a comment.
Yes, sir.
You You said sometimes we forgot suffering, we forget impermanence. Uh, isn't it like forgetting thing is just part of being human, you know? Because we can't like make ourselves to know about impermanence. We can't like make ourselves intelligently, I'm talking, through the thinking that I am aware that this is impermanence, this will pass. And like forgetting, like suffering is just like part of being human. And when we put I aside to our feeling, to our suffering, etc., we create expectation, and it may like make it worse. And it is, I can say, through my daily life, it's critical to always notice that as much as we put effort, as much as we try, as much as we try, like we can't make ourselves to accept something, and that's natural. Maybe it takes some time to understand that, for me also. But I mean, as times goes on, you see that all we human, like we can't separate ourselves from which is happening, and to expect to be mindful, to expect to be this way, to expect to know about this, to know impermanence, and don't feel bad, don't feel this, don't feel that. I hope I explain my point clearly.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I have one question also.
No, can I first take this and then go to the
Sure,
next one?
sure,
Yeah,
sure.
because I'm so mindful. Right. Now you're saying try to accept something. What do you mean by that? Accepting mindfulness or accepting impermanence or just accepting as mindfulness?
Accepting things by thinking, by memory.
Ah,
For
okay, okay,
example,
okay.
yes.
Makes sense. Yeah, this is a very good point. This impermanence, non-self, and suffering, and even for that matter, awareness, they are not, you can't do these things by thinking. You will come to this stage only when you have continuous mindfulness. Impermanence becomes an experience. I will give a simple example, and it is just the beginning of seeing impermanence. When you observe your breath, the feeling of your breath gradually drops down, gradually reduces. Not that you are not breathing, but it's feeling, you don't feel it. You don't require any more. Lot of energy, AI energy. So it is happening because it is non-self, because it is impermanent. So when this experience continues with your attention to the body, there are other impermanent experiences taking place. So therefore, this is not thinking. Of course, by thinking intellectually, you will have an understanding, but that is not what the Buddha is talking. What Buddha says is you see impermanence in your system. So this phenomena section is gradually showing how the mindfulness is separating these entire processes through awareness. Because you have awareness, you see that these are not things happening continuously with solid, firm connection. You see that there are gaps through which you can always put your awareness in. So when you put your awareness in, so everything separates. You thin slice everything. and start thin dicing everything as well. It is not physical process only. Even the mental processes in the phenomena section, you are thin slicing. And when you keep thin slicing, when you keep observing, when you keep becoming aware, and what you gradually get used to is the impermanent nature of the mind. That is why it says, when it is there, you are aware. When it is not there, you are aware. When it is arising, you are aware. When it is gradually fading away, you are aware. So that is impermanence, but not the real experience. And in this manner, the negative view that you have as permanent and self and suffering will gradually drop. When it gradually drops, there will a complete negative energy flush in your system. Those are experiences. So your practice is going in that direction, but don't try to think and achieve it. Just keep your attention
Right.
body as close as possible. Then you will know what you're saying is right. It is human nature. Forgetting is human nature. And there is nobody can say, don't feel this, don't feel that. That's human nature. It happens. So what Blessed One says is, let this human nature happen, and you just be away from it, and then you can let it happen. So once you let it happen, you are not holding on to it. So the wrong energy that you had earlier will gradually start fighting within you. Then you are seeing impermanence. So you have some experiences like that. So when those experiences come, it doesn't say that it is seeing impermanence. It doesn't say that it is seeing non-self. It doesn't say that I'm seeing suffering. It doesn't say that clinging is getting rid of. They don't say anything. You have some experience, you don't know what it is. You say, I was doing this and all of a sudden this happened. What is it? So therefore, don't worry about these things. But, asking questions is fine. But these are experiences at not thinking. Thinking is one level. But Buddha says the next level is the experiential level. So we are targeting that experiential level rather than the thinking intellectual level. Did it make sense, Sahan?
Yes, but I have, like you said, experience.
Yeah.
By words experience, do we mean memory? Like
Mm,
I can talk about it later, or like now, what is happening?
Yeah, now it is like this. Now, we can't teach about the land to a fish,
Right.
because fish will never live on the land. And at
Right.
the same time, someone who is never going to water can go to water, can live in, say, a bird or a dog can't live underwater like
Mm-hmm.
so they will not be able to understand that. But if you become a frog, then you can live in land as well as in water. So therefore, you can't think about the experience. Only thing you will have to do is you keep the mindfulness to the fore.
Mm-hmm.
If you keep the mindfulness to the fore, then you will start the deconditioning process.
Mm-hmm.
If you think about the experience, and if Blessed One says, no, this will happen, this will happen, this will happen, we will
Mm-hmm.
condition that as well. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a huge what do you call um, what do you call it? Huge criticism against Buddha, that he is not exactly telling what experiences are there in achievements. If he has said that, lot of people will achieve, because they just keep thinking of the same thing, and the mind will create that for us. It's like AI.
Yes, right.
So it's conditioning. What Blessed One said was, you
Mhm.
simply keep awareness, don't have mental volitions, so then everything will start gradually falling apart. So when it falls apart, then you will have a falling apart experience. So therefore, keep the mindfulness to the fore and keep practicing and give reports. And you are thinking a lot. So when you think as well, just become aware of this thinking process. Just become aware. Just label thinking. Then it will not stand a chance to conquer your mindfulness. Now what happens is you are thinking more about it, and then that is trying to gradually overpower the mind
Right.
rather. Right.
You know, because some of like these things are like deep, as you said, like we are giving up so many things,
Yeah.
and we really investing to see what is all about.
Yeah.
So uh, we need to be very, very precise uh, in like talking about it, in I don't know, like even being aware of it, and just like we need to like question many
Yeah.
things.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, I'm not saying this in a bad way,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why I talked about it.
Yeah.
And okay, question I
Yeah.
had, you talked about like faith and concentration.
Yeah.
Uh, uh, what I know about faith is like I give example. For example, I feel miserable for years.
Mm.
Just for example, and someone come to me and tell me you should do this, you should think this way, you should have faith, and you should believe this, and things will be all right. And uh, like we have this kind of faith in different religions
Mm.
also, that they say just have faith, don't question things,
Yeah.
just pray, just I don't know, practice, just do
Yeah.
this, just do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And part of it comes from fear, right? Like
Mm.
when you fear, when you fear, you go and to someone because you want to escape that fear, through books, through I don't know, pops, through uh, ayatollah in Islam, just to like escape from your like real life, the fact. And
Your intelligence.
uh, exactly. And they told you just to have faith and do this and do that. And I'm saying, if someone free of
Mm.
fear, free of thought, free of negative thought to some extent, this does this man really need faith? If I
Mm.
understand the faith meaning correctly, of course.
Yeah.
uh, that's my question about faith. And about concentration also. uh, I mean, concentration uh, kind of means to remove remove other things and concentrate on a primary object. For example, when you are in a school and teacher is speaking, you shouldn't talk to your friends, or you shouldn't think about morning, or think about your friend, think about your mother. You just need to listen carefully and concentrate on the subject, on the lesson. and this is what we have learned from the word concentrate. You
Yeah,
know, like my my mother used to like tell me, concentrate and learn, you have exam
yeah,
tomorrow. You
yeah,
need to like concentrate on that, and uh, it it kind of put pressure,
yeah.
and that's why, like I'm saying, we need to like be precise
Mm.
with that. And when, but in mindfulness, something which you many times insist on that, is just like accepting, like whole accepting, like everything, like thinking, feeling, I don't know, sound, uh,
Even death.
even that.
Yes,
uh
just accept.
yes, and yeah, like I have I'm saying, like, what does you mean, what do you mean by like saying concentration? Do we need to like concentrate on something primary and remove everything, because it's in contrast with like the practice and the things you say?
Yeah. So in
Yeah,
other
that's
words,
it.
yeah, no, makes sense. It's a very valid and fair question. Initially, we require faith. There are three types of faith. One is the blind faith. Blind faith, we just do it because our parents say, because our teachers say, because our friends say. We just do it for the sake of doing it. So that's that we call pasada saddha. Prasada saddha means you like it because others have told and everyone else is doing, and so I'm also doing.
Mhm.
And then comes okappana saddha, which means you think about it. When you think about it, then you can reasonably estimate that this is very rational and this is very meaningful. So therefore you have faith. And then the next one comes Okappana Saddha, Adhigama Saddha. Adhigama Saddha means you verify the faith and you become the faith.
Mhm.
In other words, not you become the faith, you become what you believed or what you had the faith in. So initially you need to have faith to verify it in this teaching, because you don't know. We are saying nirvana, we are saying achievement, we are saying enlightenment. What the heck is it? Someone might ask.
Exactly.
So we don't know because we have not. We are a fish, and we don't know about the land. So therefore, we have faith that something called land is there. And when the tadpole, when the frog is a tadpole, the tadpole can't come out and see the land. So the tadpole is asking its mother, where the heck are you going every morning and coming by evening? Then frog mother is saying, no, I'm going to the land and I'm eating insects and I'm bringing some for you as well. Then tadpole is asking, why can't I go? Then the mother says, no, you can go one day. You just believe me. You just stay and do the things I am doing. Then when you are mature enough, when you are able to go, I will take you. So we should have that tadpole frog faith, because we know, we believe that there is something called enlightenment, and we work towards it. We do it the way our elders are telling us, our noble friends are telling us. And then when you do it, you see, yes, there is something, some truth, and I can I can sense, I can experience certain things that they are talking about, I can relate to, then to that extent, you don't require faith anymore. You require the faith for the things that you have not achieved yet. So therefore, this faith we are talking about is not the blind faith as such, but this is a verifiable faith. And so far as concentration is concerned, concentration usually having the meaning that you just mentioned. The concentration that we develop in the mindfulness is called right concentration. Right concentration in the sense, not just because blindly you accept that as right. Right concentration happens when your attention comes to the moment. That is what we do. Mindfulness means awareness of here, now I am. So when you have become more and more closely mindful, you come very close to you. You come very close to now. So when you get close to now, within your system, you simply maintain awareness, and in your system, you start seeing a lot of physical and mental processes are happening. Say, for example, at the beginning, or maybe even now when you practice, you are sitting and doing your practice. You don't feel the breath, but you are not very worried about it. Or we will say, we feel the breath, and you have your attention to the breath. And you hear sound as well. You see that some thoughts are going as well. And you see your mother is cooking a very nice dish, and you have the smell as well. But you don't pick any of these things. You are aware, you simply stay calm. So here you have a concentration which is not affected by anything, but without removing anything as well. Because you have closed to the moment. In the moment, everything is happening. So when everything is happening, you are unaffected. And that is the concentration that we are talking about. So there are two types of concentration. Target shooting is one concentration. And the shooting in the war, in the battlefield, is another concentration. So what we practice here is behind the battlefield. So we can't tell the enemy, oh, stay, don't move, just don't shake your head, I'm going to shoot your head. Can't say that. So we just let the life move as it usually moves, but we stay unaffected by them. So that's the right concentration. But the meaning that you said is what is available in the dictionary and what one will usually understand as concentration. So that concentration is having, as you say, a pressure, because you will have to actively remove few things. Now here the Blessed One says, no, don't remove anything. You don't react to any of those things. You just stay still. That has huge positive energy. Make sense, my friend?
Makes sense. Exactly. It was a great discussion. Thank you.
Teruvan Saranai for your contribution. When you ask, these type of questions, then I can relate. Otherwise, I don't know what to talk. If you ask questions, then I have food to talk. All right, Pete, are you going to talk anything, or are you good?
I'm pretty good, thank you, Banti. Just listening. There's a lot of good points made, and I'm just trying to take it all in.
Great.
So yeah, pretty busy just taking it all in.
Good.
Thank you.
All right. So, Sahan, are you able to chant this, or you want somebody else to chant it?
I can, but if you can share it.
Yeah, I'm sharing. Can you just give me a second?
Okay.
Just give me a second. I don't think you can share. Right. I will share it. Give me a second. Can you see it now?
Yeah,
yes.
it's starting to come up now. Yeah.
Yes, over to you.
May all devas share this merit which we have thus accumulated for the acquisition of all kinds of happiness and prosperity. May all other beings share this merit which we have thus accumulated for the acquisition of all kinds of happiness and prosperity. May all the beings share this merit which we have thus accumulated for the acquisition of all kinds of happiness and prosperity. May all beings inhabiting space and earth, devas and nagas of mighty power, having shared this merit, long protect the dispensation. May all beings inhabiting space and earth, devas and nagas of mighty power, having shared this merit, long protect the teaching. May all beings inhabiting space and earth, devas and nagas of mighty power, having shared this merit, long protect me and others. If by deed, speech, or thought heedlessly I have done any wrong, forgive, O Master, O Victor, greatly wise. If by deed, speech, or thought heedlessly I have done any wrong, forgive, O Dhamma, to be seen here and now, timeless. If by deed, speech, or thought heedlessly I have done any wrong, forgive, O Sangha, practice well, the incomparable. Let this merit accrue to our departed relatives and may they be happy. Let this merit accrue to our departed relatives and may they be happy. Let this merit accrue to our departed relatives and may they be happy. By the grace of this merit that I have acquired, may I never follow the foolish, but only the wise up to the time I attain Nibbana. By the grace of this merit that I have acquired, may I never follow the foolish, but only the wise up to the time I attain Nibbana. By the grace of this merit that I have acquired, may I never follow the foolish, but only the wise up to the time I attain Nibbana.
Sadhu,
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 sadhu.
sadhu.
Thank you very much, everybody, for the participation. Teruvan Saranai.
Everyone, so nice. Thank you, Bante.
Teruvan Saranai.